Hi and welcome to SCW, the wrestling channel here on YouTube.com. Thank you for choosing the channel and choosing the video. Please subscribe right now. Leave any comments in the comment section. Please like and share the video as well. Talking at WWE Money in the Bank for you right now. I've got the predictions video for you right here. Going to go through all the matches on the card and give my picks throughout the show and my feelings on it. We're going to start with the Money in the Bank ladder matches. That's right, it is going to be taking place at WWE HQ. Who is going to climb the corporate ladder? We're going to go through the headquarters, starting on the ground floor, working our way up through the floors, and we've got a little bit of a viewpoint. And there's a gym, there's press office rooms, we've got lots of corridors. There's lots of fun that should be able to produce from these matches as and when we see them this Sunday. But what's also very interesting is that both the men's and women's Money in the Bank ladder matches will be going on at the same time. What's very interesting here, looking at the matches, is going to be, will they clash at some point? Will the women start on the men? Will they be able to keep separated? Will the matches be one long cinematic movie? Or will they be cinematic movies that will be going on throughout the night? Now, I've not thought about this too much, but it's something that comes to me very quickly before making the video, that we could have, these as one, as it's going to be one match, that it could be something that could last half an hour to an hour long, because we've got 12 competitors, a lot of storytelling you could tell. You could go where we've seen in previous events in WWE history, where a match can start somewhere and they go to the ring and they come back to it, and it certainly would be a way to break up the show. I'm not sure if I'm massively in favour of it, but what I would say is that if we have these Money in the Bank ladder matches going on as one, I think that if the cinematic match was to go on for too long, I think that there could be a point that fans could become a bit restless and lose interest. So this has to be done carefully, it has to be done tastefully. But looking into the match themselves, of course, once they get to the top of the headquarters, they go to the roof, and then they've got the ring set up, of course, and then we've got the ladders, and we've got the normal ladder match that would go and resume as normal. There has been a rumour that was going around on the rumour mill, and it's something I will talk about very quickly, is that Becky Lynch had done an interview, and apparently Vince McMahon had actually expressed a feeling of what it would be like for someone to actually be thrown off the building and how it would be done safely. Now, I hope that that angle is not done in the cinematic match. Now, cinematic wrestling can be fun, can do things creatively and wacky, but the suspense of disbelief here, guys. I know it's supposed to be like a movie, and wrestling as well, we have to suspend the disbelief anyway, but if someone goes off the building and AJ Styles has threatened someone to be thrown off of it, I will find it very unbelievable, to the point that that character has to be written off TV forever. There is no logical way that you could make that and it seem normal. So I've gone on through there and everything. Let's go for the competitors and give my opinions of who's going to win each match. At the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, we've got Daniel Bryan, Aleister Black, Rey Mysterio, King Corbin, Otis, and the returning AJ Styles this week, who took the place of Apollo Crews. Looking for the match, you could make an argument for everybody, but I'm going to give you 2 or 3 people that I think immediately that it's not going to be. Daniel Bryan, definitely not for me. He doesn't need it, and I think at the moment he's more in the mid-card. Same for Rey Mysterio. I think these guys are there to add credibility. I don't believe Otis will be the winner of this match. I do think there is a slight potential that we could have some unexpected visitors in the HQ. I think it'd be very interesting to see what other characters could pop up through the building. Vince McMahon himself could be doing an interview of a latest signing, for example, of someone that could be coming to Raw or SmackDown from NXT. We could have, Shane McMahon hanging about, Stephanie, Triple H. There could even be, for Otis' sake, maybe someone like Dolph Ziggler, Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose, or even Tucker. I do wonder if there's a potential that there is rumours going around that Heavy Machinery as a tag team is no more. Otis will be continuing as a single star. Slightly disappointing. I think they had a tag team run in them, but I do wonder if there could be a chance then that Tucker could turn heel and side with Dolph Ziggler. I mean, Otis has been a bad tag team partner and friend of late, more or less ditching Tucker to be with Mandy Rose. So that's something I don't necessarily rule out as a potential that could happen in this match. So we come down to the final 3. Aleister Black, who I think is a favourite amongst most of the wrestling community. King Corbin, who I think would actually be unfavoured by most of the community. And AJ Styles. I think any of these 3 could win. I'm going to, though, say that I think it should be King Corbin. Now, my reasoning for this is I think SmackDown needs another main event talent. Raw has a lot of main events that could face Drew McIntyre and fill in for that main event slot. Outside of Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt at the minute, I don't see another creditable person that could be in that championship picture on SmackDown, and I think King Corbin would be a great shout. If he wants to win it, though, he cannot lose this time. He has to cash in, and he has to become champion. And I think he would be overly annoying and obnoxious, and I don't think he's the obvious choice, which makes this a potential, because Money in the Bank doesn't always give you the obvious winner. Aleister Black would be a good shout because of the fact he is rising up the card anyway. It would get him ahead some of those main event talents that are on Raw, but I think he is going there on a natural progression and doesn't need it. AJ Styles would be great because I think him coming back into the picture could do with a briefcase right now, but I do think also he could get into a championship match of merit. So I will continue with my pick of being King Corbin. Looking at the women's, it's a complete different situation. We've got Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, Asuka, Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans and Carmella. Well, SmackDown has gone for the participation award. I don't see any of them women winning from the SmackDown side. So it comes down to Baszler, Nia Jax and Asuka. Nia Jax for me has come back, but I don't see her climbing the corporate ladder and picking up the wins. So I actually do wonder if Nia Jax is actually going to come to blows with one of the men during this match. I'm going to throw that as a little prediction because they have to interact in some way. I think it would be weird if there was not an interaction in some form, and I think Nia Jax could be the one that could interact with the men. So for me, it comes down to Baszler and Asuka, but for me, I will go for Baszler purely for the basis that she reminds me almost of Alberto Del Rio back in 2011. She was given that big push, almost the believability that was going to win the championship at WrestleMania. I mean, Baszler was facing Becky Lynch, and they just didn't pull the trigger. Kind of what they did with Del Rio back in 2011. He'd won the Rumble, faced Edge at WrestleMania, and didn't come out on the winning end. They moved him to Raw, I believe, at the time, came to Money in the Bank, and then they made sure that they cashed in and they profited him with a briefcase so he could go and win the belt a month later. I think that this is the potential likelihood here to make sure Shayna Baszler wins the belt credibility, but also keeps Becky Lynch the credibility as well. From a standpoint, I would love to see Asuka win it. I do think that she is someone, in my personal opinion, who has become quite favourable. I know Vince McMahon has been quite favourable for work. She's been getting over so well in this empty arena environment, and I think that it would be a nice reward to see her with the Money in the Bank briefcase, and I do think that it would be great for her later in the year to have a moment where she would cash in and win the belt and be the Raw Women's Champion. But I will say that I'm going to stick with the prediction of Shayna Baszler. Going elsewhere into the card then, we'll do quickly the SmackDown Women's Championship match, Bayley versus Tamina. Tamina is a stopgap for me in this situation. It is a Bayley-Sasha Banks direction. Bayley has been champion for so long. Tamina, I don't believe, has ever been a women's champion in WWE, and this is the problem. She's been built up quite well since her return in the last few weeks, but she's never given that believability factor that she, in my opinion, would actually win the championship, and I think it would be damaging for the division for Tamina to win it, and that's quite harsh to say. If they wanted me to believe the belt could change hands here, I think Nia Jax should have returned in this position instead. I think I would have believed more that there was a chance the belt could change hands. So for me, Bayley retains here. Sasha Banks probably will be involved in some fashion, where there's a bit more friction between the two and Bayley escapes or something around that matter. But Bayley will remain SmackDown Women's Champion, and we will build towards a Bayley-Sasha Banks program somewhere further down the line. But Bayley, she's running out of people on SmackDown, and I think that this is ultimately why she has the match with Tamina to begin with and not somebody else. Next, we'll look at the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, a fatal four-way. We've got the champions, the New Day, defending against Miz and Morrison, Hey Hey, Ho Ho. We've got the Forgotten Sons, and we've got the Lucha House Party. I'm going to tell you what I think here. I do believe that there's two teams with a shout of winning. The New Day and the Forgotten Sons are my picks here of potentials that can win it. Lucha House Party, I expect to do the fall, but it could be The Miz if The Miz happens to be in the doghouse, because The Miz did lose the belts and he did lose to Lucha House Party recently on SmackDown. So it does make me believe The Miz could be in a bit of hot water here, and they could be building to a program between Miz and Morrison themselves. We'll have to wait and see. But I do think over the course of the summer, the New Day and the Forgotten Sons may be involved in some form of tag team championship match. The Forgotten Sons already have a win over the New Day, and they also can do the free bird rule. So I'm wondering, we could get a free bird situation here within this tag team rivalry if Xavier Woods was to return, for example, and still be part of the New Day. So I'm going to go for the Lucha House Party to take the fall. I think here actually, maybe even The Miz, we'll see, but that's irrelevant. I think the New Day will escape here as tag team champions, and I think that the program will continue with the Forgotten Sons somewhere down the line. But what I think is also interesting is I believe the Hacker will be revealed at the end of this match. I mean, it has been following around Dolph Ziggler a hell of a lot recently, and that rivalry with Otis. I suppose it could be announced throughout the Money in the Bank ladder match, and that could be something that could happen with those later in the evening. But it has followed tag team wrestling a lot, and I have said that I do believe that Ali and Chad Gable are behind the Hacker. So I think that they will be the ones that will be revealed. Whether that will be enough for fans to keep them invested in what this has been so far, we'll have to wait and see. But that's who I believe the Hacker is, or Hackers will be on SmackDown. Next, we look at the Blue Universal Championship match, and you know what I mean by that. We've got Braun Strowman defending against Bray Wyatt. Not the Fiend. Very interesting. It's not the Fiend on this one. I think that this is the first of many matches between the two. I think that the belt is going to stay with Braun Strowman. I think it's been slowly built, this one, but I do think they've rushed into the match. But it's going at a nice pace, the rivalry so far. But I just feel to myself, this match should have been at SummerSlam, or the Fiend should have been the match at SummerSlam. No one's got anything to gain from this, in my opinion. I actually hope that this is like a false finish and both have to face other competitors and come back to this at a later date. But that's just my opinion. But I do think Braun Strowman retains the championship. I think that we could see here maybe a count-out or a DQ, maybe a double DQ, maybe a draw is very likely for this match. But I don't see Bray Wyatt winning here, and neither do I see Bray Wyatt losing. So I think we'll see probably a draw, like I say, a false finish to make this go further on into another pay-per-view. Last but not least, we've got the WWE Championship match. We've got Drew McIntyre against Seth Rollins. This has been going at a nice pace so far. I quite like where this is going. I think there's some mileage in this one as well, but where I think there's a false finish in the last match, I think we have a clear winner in this match. Drew has been booked very strong so far, and he's been booked very well as a champion. This needs to continue. Drew McIntyre has to go over here, and I do believe Seth Rollins actually will benefit in losing in this match rather than winning. I think Seth Rollins is the kind of guy right now who's been a bit darker since WrestleMania. This Messiah gimmick is taking a new direction, in an almost darker direction, and I think the more that Seth loses, the darker it gets, and I think that that could really benefit his character going into the coming months. So for that reason, I do actually believe that maybe Murphy could be a reason of why Seth loses. There has already been a tease there at some stage that maybe there could be that the Disciple could have a problem with Rollins down the line, and that could happen in this here. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm going to go for Drew McIntyre to retain the WWE Championship, but I'm not surprised if this will take another pay-per-view or two to settle this rivalry. But that's all the matches that have been announced for now. I do think there could be another match or two added to this. We'll have to wait and see. But if there are, I'll bring it to the channel. But that's all for me right now. Do make sure to check out the other videos that have been posted for you this week here on SCW. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks to everyone that has been supporting the channel. It's really grateful that you guys have been continuing to do so. And yeah, drop it to a like and a share. Maybe share it with a friend, maybe someone that likes wrestling. And let them know that the channel exists. And also, you should let me know your thoughts of Money in the Bank in the comments below. I would love to hear your predictions going into the show. But that's all from me anyway. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time here on YouTube.com. This is SCW, the wrestling channel.